Thank you, Jürgen, and it's a great pleasure to be here, not just to see some of these fabulous exhibitions. I went around the textile bit earlier on. If those of you who haven't seen how Manchester's wealth was really created, it's really worth having a look. There's an incredible opportunity for us here in the Northwest, and I want to explain how over the recent past I've come to that conclusion, and how I think that we will exploit it together, and that's the important word, together. The region is full of great companies, great institutes, great businesses, as well as being a great place to live. But historically, we've had one failing. We haven't worked together terribly well. And before the abolition of the RDA, where they were starting to make a difference, there wasn't the kind of willingness there is now in the key sectors to make that happen together. And that's where I really congratulate the work that the Northwest Business Leaders team have done, because they've picked up where the RDA have left off and driven that forward. That is hugely important for us. So we do have an opportunity, and it's a homegrown opportunity. It's true in many, many areas, but no area more so than in our science base and in our science-driven industries. That's why I, as chair of the Science Select Committee in the Commons, am proud to be here working with the Business Leaders team to launch this report. And I particularly want to pay thanks to Geoffrey and Ursula for the work they've done in doing this. It's been a tremendous achievement to pull all this together. By the way, Ursula I first met in our embassy in Berlin when she was working in Berlin. And it gave me an idea, Jürgen, on the way over in the train, that I'd like to see this report on the desk of every one of our science councillors over the world next week. I think that's a challenge for Geoffrey. Get it sent out to every science councillor with a covering letter from the business leadership team. There couldn't be a more important time for all of this to be happening. There are signs of a slow recovery. There are signs that some supply chains are returning to the region, having deserted us for lower cost parts of the world. There are even signs that some banks are recognising the potential of our science base. But we mustn't just rely on outside forces. Just in the way people have come together in preparing this report, we've got to continue the momentum and try and develop some of its key messages into new areas of research, new products, and new well-paid jobs in the region. Let's look at a few of the examples of things I've come across in the last few years. I was in Tanzania a couple of years ago, and I met people profusely thanking researchers, scientists from the Liverpool School of Tropical Medicine who were working with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation on solving problems around malaria. Extraordinary, powerful messages coming from local people thanking Liverpool. Last Sunday, for a somewhat significant birthday, my family took me to Jodrell Bank, where I thoroughly enjoyed myself. I love places like this. And I was looking at some of the achievements there. And I've also worked with Liverpool John Moore's team, led by Mike Bode, who've helped to support the National Schools Observatory. Yesterday, I was shown around the large Hadron Collider exhibition in the Science Museum in London, and incidentally it's coming here later this year. You could almost say it's coming home. Even though the Collider is itself a global venture, you cannot underestimate the amount of basic science that belongs here in the Northwest. Just by way of illustration, I was paired through the Royal Society pairing scheme with members of Parliament with Tara Shears from Liverpool. She's been working at the heart of CERN. Last September, she was in an audience I was addressing at the British Science Festival in Durham, and she tweeted, and I quote the tweet, "Fascinating fact, beside chairing the Science and Technology Select Committee, Andrew Miller MP helped to build a part of the LHCb experiment. It's true, LHCb experiment has one tiny solder joint that I did. But as an experienced politician, I wasn't going to admit that until I heard the words 5 Sigma in July 2012. So my solder joint did work, thank goodness. Now, I won't steal Nancy's thunder by talking too much about her physicists, only to say that I personally know a student who opted for Manchester rather than Oxbridge to read physics. Now, that's a real good story. Andrei Geim, Konstantin Novoletov, and not forgetting Brian Cox, have helped popularize physics and make it cool. But they've also attracted serious investment into the area. I was told never to tell stories out of school, but last time Brian was in the House of Commons, I had to rescue him from MP groupies. It's absolutely true. They all wanted pictures with him. Elsewhere in the region, there are many, many others playing incredibly significant roles. So just coming across from my constituency on the east of the west of the region to here, you pass by world-class veterinary science, nuclear engineering, energy-saving technologies, chemical engineering, computing, beamline technologies, life sciences, before you even enter Nancy's domain here in Manchester. From Sellafield in the north to Jodrell Bank in the south, within our region, there is so much, and equally important, so much more potential. And I'll finish with just one of the exciting stories about the potential that's mentioned in the report. I had a role in the acquisition of the Thornton Research Centre from Shell. 66 acres, 1 million square feet of high-end laboratory space. It will become, for the University of Chester, a new faculty of chemical engineering, an energy centre, and an innovation centre. There for you, the incubator, you, the startup, you, the supply chain player, or indeed the multinational to use to meet your R&D needs. These are the kinds of innovations that if we continue to work within the spirit of this report, we will exploit for the benefit of our community and the country. And of course, I can't finish by not repeating the message. Repeated enough times, people will get the message. George, you're in the building. There's absolutely no doubt that, in my view, both historically, because of the business use of high-end computing in this region, the economic case for bringing the Turing Centre here is very, very clear. It'll be a far better deal than planting it somewhere in central London with where the industrial exploitation won't occur, and where land prices are so ridiculously high that it will cost twice as much to build. So let's bring it here. Let's continue within the spirit of this report, and let's keep working together to make sure that these investments come here, and in that way the public sector engagement in it can help the private sector. Working together, we can change this region and make it as strong as it was when many of these fantastic machines around here were built a long time ago. Thanks very much indeed.